After playing Gris for the first time back in 2019, I developed a strong affinity for games I like to describe as emotional platformers, and I'm always on the hunt for similar blends of memorable storytelling and engaging gameplay. I missed out on Planet of Lana when it released, but developer Wishfully's follow-up, titled Children of the Leaf, caught my eye right away and snagged itself a spot on my Steam wishlist. After finally playing the original, and then the sequel right after, it's clear this studio delivered an impressive refinement of the first game's already enjoyable formula. While it didn't quite hit the same highs as my all-time favorites, Planet of Lana 2 is still a brilliant combination of platformer puzzle-solving gameplay and memorable storytelling. In terms of settings and performance, the game's menu gets the job done, and there's not much else to say for an experience like this. It's strikingly beautiful, but not visually demanding, and all the options you need are included. Its opening cutscene felt a little choppy, and I tried playing around with the settings a bit, but it seems like this was just how the recap was implemented. I did experience some screen tearing at first, and while I don't typically use VSync, when I turned it on, this fixed the issue right away. I was also messing around with the settings beforehand, so I'll take full responsibility for that one. Afterwards, it ran flawlessly on my Ryzen 7 78X3D and NVIDIA 5080, graphics set to highest, no frame drops, stutters, or screen tearing whatsoever. I also tested the game out on my Steam Deck for a little bit, and it ran fine there too on the default settings. It still looks great and is definitely a solid handheld title, and should perform fine on most hardware. When it comes to visuals and audio, there's lots of reused assets from the first game, which makes total sense. But the sequel's higher production value is on display right from the start. It's the same beautiful world as before in terms of both audio and visuals, and its art direction remains absolutely stunning. Its environments are gorgeous, and there are so many beautiful scenes, such as swimming in the ocean with a giant whale while beautiful clouds linger in the background. The first game never lacked environmental variety, but this is expanded even further in the sequel too, with new locations that feature deep-sea diving, snowy mountaintops, and a desolate scrapyard. All of the biomes are mesmerizing in their own way, such as a city with a beautiful blend of nature and technology, versus more darker and drab settings as well. The game's visual style with objects in the foreground is also so cool. It's something I really enjoyed from the first game, and I'm glad they carried it forward here. The soundtrack is unbelievably beautiful as well, and complements the visuals perfectly. Everything that was loved from the first game is back, and in some cases, even better, with composer Takeshi Furukawa nailing it once again. Another one of the game's great strengths is its storytelling, and right from the start it tells you to form your own interpretation of these events. This is one of the coolest things about Planet of Lana. The story is the story, but leaving the specifics of what's being said by its cast open to your interpretation is so well done, and enhances this tale even further. Just like the original, it's amazing how much emotion these characters convey without actually hearing word for word what's being said. Planet of Lana is far from the first piece of media to do this, but it does it so well. There's a nice little recap of the first game to kick things off, and the second starts in a familiar place, with Lana and her new friend Anwa exploring, joined shortly by Lana's best buddy from the first game, Mui. As the adventure kicks off, some mysterious guys show up and drop off a poison gas crystal, which Anwa is exposed to, causing her to collapse into some sort of coma. Lana clashes with her sister Elo, playing the blame game for what happened to Anwa, then she sets off on a quest to cure her companion with help from her mentor Rakuen. There's a darker tone right from the start, which is continued throughout the entire game. The first entry had its creepy, intense moments to be sure, but the sequel takes it to a whole other level. It also covers a slew of different themes, all of which are presented exceptionally well. There's commentary on respecting nature, how different tribes handle technology, complicated family relationships, and of course, the consequences of one's own actions. There are returning characters like Elo and Rakuen, and new ones too, like Anwa, other tribes on the planet, and the bald guy and his cronies that show up. There's also the mysterious prophet they follow, and you learn more about some of these characters as the game goes on, while others are left largely a mystery. There are also several flashbacks predating both games that provide more context on events from each, where some characters came from, their motivations for their actions, and answers to some of the mysterious questions that these stories raise. The game's ending features beautiful visuals and is emotionally gripping, and clearly sets up a third entry yet to come, but it did feel a little abrupt. Things really start to come together, but then they end at what feels like the climax of the story. The first game's tale was a fully cohesive story, and the second unfortunately feels like it suffers a little bit from setting up the next entry, but it's still coherent and engaging and worth experiencing. When it comes to gameplay, there are plenty of improvements from the first title, along with lots of new additions to spice things up too. It's easy to see the higher production value carried over into this gameplay. The journal for tracking Lana's objectives, notes, and secrets is very similar to what was featured in the first, but clearly more robust. Lana herself has both new abilities and returning ones that have been improved. She can now sprint, her wall jumping and climbing is more responsive, and she can still swim but with added new mechanics, like an underwater pouch for carrying Mui, air refills for Lana herself, and electric jellyfish to avoid. You even get to pilot a submersible at some points. Controlling Mui with Lana is even more responsive than the first game. The cursor snaps to objects, making it more accurate and easy to control, and this is especially helpful during dangerous and high-pressure situations. There's also sections where you take control of Mui independently using a waypoint system, and this felt a little clunky at first. It makes sense when you're using him with Lana, but I wondered why you weren't able to just move him on your own. Ultimately, it does differentiate their gameplay, and it isn't a major complaint. Enemy variety is also expanded, starting with some returning foes but quickly incorporating new ones, like electric dolphins, more robot types with different mechanics, and exploding firebugs. There are also human-based enemies like security cameras now too. I was so used to only seeing Lana's tribe, sneaking by other modern humans actually felt more harrowing than dealing with robots or some of the game's nastier enemies. And there's even a cool mech boss fight to overcome towards the end of the game. There are interesting and enjoyable chase sequences added, the second one being really cool. And the game does such a good job of introducing new mechanics at a consistent pace, and always giving you that duh moment once they finally click. Music was a central focus in the first title, but it's expanded even further here with an entire mechanic built around solving one of the game's major puzzles. Speaking of creative puzzles, they are back here and better than ever, once again featuring returning mechanics and a lot of new ones too. These puzzles are amazing and a genuine joy to complete. They're complex and challenging, but never too much, and always feel rewarding to figure out even when they take a second to click. Once you get them, that eureka moment feels so good. Whenever I get stuck and ask myself, what am I missing here? I take a minute to look around, and then boom, it just clicks. Once you approach things from the right angle, everything comes together. These challenges never felt unfair, they only demanded that you take the time to figure them out. And things that were tough to start get a lot easier once you know what to look for. And just like the first game, the sequel is very generous with its checkpoints. There are plenty of new mechanics to conquer, often tied to specific zones. Dealing with blowing wind gusts, poison gas crystals, growing plants, and even a cool music-based puzzle that took me way too long to figure out. Once again, simply my fault for not realizing what I needed to do. These puzzles often require coordination by Lana and Mui at the same time, or even another third entity to complete. And these sections where you control other creatures via Mui add even more variety to this excellent gameplay. I cannot get over how good these puzzles are. Mechanically intensive and diverse, but still understandable, while presenting a decent challenge. And I was constantly impressed by their implementation, just like the first game. Similarly, there are plenty of secrets to uncover as well, hidden behind puzzles and traversal. Unfortunately, I missed some of these and I couldn't go back in real time, but there is a level replay feature available after completing each section, so it's not a huge deal. Overall, it took me 6 hours to complete the game, and you could definitely pad this out a little bit more by grabbing all the collectibles. Sequels are always interesting to me, because they can take one of two routes. Divert away from the original to try something new, or double down on what made the original great and refine it even further, both of which can work depending on the situation. Planet of Lana 2 definitely takes the second approach, and it worked out swimmingly for Wishfully, because the sequel is absolutely excellent. Everything great about the first game was carried forward and improved, with new additions that boosted up even further, resulting in a truly worthy sequel that can also be played entirely on its own, although I highly recommend knocking out the first game too, both of which can be completed in a weekend or even a single long sitting. Planet of Lana 2 Children of the Leaf is definitely worth checking out for $20 US, along with the original which goes for the same price. They're also available on Game Pass, which is an excellent steal for subscribers of that service. While it didn't reach the same highs as some of my absolute favorites, after playing through both games in a short amount of time, this is definitely one of my new top emotional platformer franchises, and I can't wait to see where Lana's story takes her and Mui next. Thanks for watching! If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more gaming content, and let me know your thoughts on Planet of Lana 2 in the comments below. If you've already played it, how did the sequel stack up against its predecessor? And if you haven't, does this sound like a platformer worth trying, or will you be sitting it out? Either way, thank you for watching. You're a real one and I appreciate you. Catch you later!